Hello, my name's Mik Scarlet. I'm a journalist, TV reporter, musician and an access consultant. I'm also a full-time wheelchair user. What I want you to do is to sit back and come on a journey with me through one of the iconic parts of where I live in London. The Stables Market in Camden has been at the centre of London life since it was built in the 1800s. It's currently being redeveloped, and while factors such as heritage and the preservation of its many historic features have been factored in throughout the entire build, disabled access has not been given such a high priority. The developers have asked me to work with them to improve their access, and the aim is to make the entire site fully inclusive. However, I do feel that as the market stands now, it does demonstrate how important it is to consider disabled access at the very early stages of the design and planning parts of any build or environment. So, are you sitting comfortably? Good. Then we'll begin. Okay, right. What I'm going to do before we go out there is just show you how I'm filming this. What I'm doing is I've bolted you to my wheelchair. Let me show you. There you go. It's a trick I learned on a TV set, and what it does is it gives you a very smooth ride. It means you get really nice tracking shots. It does wobble a bit, I won't deny, because it's quite a cheap stand, but it should give you an idea, I think, of what the experience is of wheeling around where I'm about to take you. So, you're sitting comfortably, I'm sitting with a camera strapped to my knee. Let's go! Right, well, I'm here outside the rear entrance of the Stables Market. It's an entrance that isn't actually really known to anyone other than us locals, which is annoying because it is the only place where there is disabled parking, and there's a lift down to an area that is quite good to get round. So, right, what we'll do is I'll go in and get the lift. Right, here we are. Here we go. Now, this part of the market has only recently been opened, and so it is quite good, but one of the problems it does have is signage. There was no signs out there that really clearly indicated that it was the entrance to the market, and as you'll see down here, there still isn't. It's very quiet at the moment, so it's quite good. You get quite a nice idea of the size of everywhere. One of the things I will say is down this corridor here is a disabled toilet, and I've just noticed for the first time, let's just move you up a bit, that's where the signage is. So it is a little thing, but these are all things that we'll work on to correct. Okay, so let's go up here. You can see that each one of these little sort of horse stable style things is actually an individual shop, so it's kind of a fun and entertaining place to come and visit, and it's somewhere that most tourists that come to England desperately want to see. At the moment we're wheeling on a floorboard type arrangement, which is really clever because underneath I imagine the surface of the paving is very poor. Okay. Right, so we're now about to change floor surface onto cobblestones through, and these cobblestones pretty much run throughout the site. Right, as you can already tell, I imagine from the way the camera is wobbling around, that it is quite an uneven surface. Okay, nice big sign that indicates toilets. No braille signage, but let's go up here. This is another area that isn't actually open yet, but it does demonstrate that some consideration has been given to disabled access, in that we do have disabled toilets, even though they are downstairs, and we have a lift that takes us to some of the more subterranean areas. But it isn't really inclusive, and it will require myself and the developers to work together to create a full system of maps to indicate how to get around. It's a bit hard to tell because this piece is still unfinished, so I'm not allowed to go up there yet, but this is actually a ramp to access to the entire site. It's very much like the Guggenheim in New York, but obviously not quite so white and shiny. Okay, so we'll go back down the cobblestones now. I think you can tell that they do create quite an uneven rolling surface for any wheelchair user and for anyone with mobility issues. And these have been very recently laid. These are all modern cobblestones that have been laid to emulate the older stones, which I shall show you in a moment. I think in this site, on this part of the site, we will try to create a smoother surface by repointing all of the cobbles, and hopefully that will solve this uneven rolling surface. Right, I'm going to take it down here because there are transitions here from new to old flooring, to the original flooring, and sorry if I'm making some funny noises, it's because it's quite difficult to wheel on. I'm just going to show you this. Let me just pan in a little bit. As you can see, that is a very deep, the gaps between the stones are very large, and the pointing is very poor, so you are talking about a situation where a wheelchair user could easily fall down. Let's see if I can show you my wheels. There we go, there's my front wheel. See how small it is in comparison to the gap. In fact, I'll wheel it into a gap to show you. There. So, now the problem with this kind of thing is not only is it a problem for access, but it's also a bit of a health and safety problem, because of course if I'm wheeling along, my wheel goes down one of the gaps between the cobbles and it stops, I will be thrown out onto the floor, where I could quite easily injure myself, actually quite badly. So that's a priority that we have, is to pinpoint areas such as this and to make sure that they are right. Okay, right, let's go and carry on going round. Okay, I'm now walking up a corridor that has been, yet again, covered with this planking, and you can easily see the massive difference it makes. It's quite sad. I do wish they'd have done it throughout. Oh dear. Right. Here is something that I think really shows that disabled access wasn't thought of as a priority when the architects were designing transitions between levels. There are two sets of steps here. I don't know if you can see, there's one there, a steep set, and one here, a shallow set. Yet surely it would have made much more sense to have had a steep set and a ramp. Anyway, I'm not sure what will be done about these kind of problems, primarily because they're huge and concrete. Right, we're now wheeling on what looks like the modern cobblestones, and yes, there are massive problems, but we are coming up to a transitional stage, which I will show you. But first, I would like to show you this. Now this, actually, yes, this is a transition. Here we go. I hope this shows up on the camera. Yes, it does, lovely. Oh, there's my, hello, there's me, that's my shadow. Right. If you look on the left side of the camera here, this is modern cobblestones, and you can see, and then this is old, traditional, original cobblestones. Hello there, it's all right, come through. Got to get in the way of the traders. Right, anyway, so that's the original ones, and of course, these are very historic features. What the discussion is at the moment between myself and the developers is how do we solve these problems? One of the things we're considering, as I said, is repointing all of the stones, but some of them, as I've already said, are historic. And we do have a problem with not wanting to destroy the historic nature of, not wanting to destroy the historic pointing and the way they've been laid. You know, this is equally important to the heritage and preservation lobby as the fact that we don't take them up and lay concrete on top of them. One of the suggestions has been to create pathways, such as in Barcelona, which are short, about a metre and a half wide, tarmacked paths, specifically for wheelchair users and people with mobility issues to use, and they'll be marked with disabled symbols to indicate that that is the safe place and the safe way of travelling around the site. Right, let me show you some more of the interesting features. Right, well, what we're going to do now is I'm going to wheel you towards now all of this is historic. It's actually the ramp where the horses were led up to the building on your left, which is the original horse hospital, where the horses that dealt with the canal barges, etc., were taken to be treated. Because although, you know, kind of we have this idea that they were just thrown away like rubbish, they were actually a kind of valuable commodity, worthy of being treated. Now, this is a very, very, very difficult piece of terrain to traverse in a wheelchair, and we think the only way to solve it is to create a path up, which makes it safe. Okay. Sorry if I'm gone quiet a moment. I'm trying to work out how to do this. Here we go. I'm actually pulling a wheelie now because it's the only safe way of getting around. Now, what you see here is something I feel a little sad about, but I do understand that there is a lift that gets there. This is an underground area, which appears to be shops and food court, and it's accessed via these stairs. Yet, as you can see, it's probably shallow enough to have been ramped as well, which would have been fantastic in a more inclusive nature. You know, we don't have to find the lift out the back, and also, of course, lifts break down. I am currently on a piece that is so bad. I'm very worried about my safety, and I think that's the really sad bit. Is you do feel really disempowered. I mean, right, I've kind of got myself composed now. That was absolutely terrifying. It's why I think it's absolutely imperative, and why I'm going to really push to try and get the developers to fix certain areas as soon as possible, because there really are some very, very, very dangerous areas. And however much the heritage lobby argues that they are original, they must be made safe. Yeah, okay, right, let's carry on. Don't want to bleat on. I don't want to be saying the same things over and over again. But one of the things you will see as I take you around is it is a kind of continuing theme. There are problems that continue throughout the entire site, and as I've said, had this have been considered early on, they wouldn't have been made throughout the entire site. Okay, right, let's carry on. Sadly, yet more steps, and these, of course, are taking, I mean, that's less than a metre. So, you know, we're talking about a very short ramp that could have solved that. I think, you know, we need to face up the fact that these things now are set in stone. And so we will have to just mark a path throughout the site. Okay. What I'm going to do is wheel up here. Oh, gee. Now we're back on original. Although these seem to have been repointed. So, and as you can tell already, although these are original stones, actually wheeling on them kind of is much easier than back there. While it is shaky, it's not unpassable. Some areas up. Now, what I'm going to do is just stop here. This, believe it or not, this very steep ramp is the disabled access to a nightclub that is on the first floor. Now, I don't know what the answer to this is. This is an original ramp. I'm afraid it's where the horses that weren't cured were taken before they went to the knacker's yard. This shows, I think, one of the problems we have in England is that we have an equal rights law, we have legislation about providing access to goods and services, and because it is so vague and because there is so little advice given, you have situations where someone has obviously said on the first floor nightclub, that's a ramp, so that will be okay for wheelchair users, but not actually considered the fact that it is massively uneven, far too steep, and probably is actually more dangerous than actually carrying someone up a flight of stairs. So that will be something I will be bringing up with the developers. I don't know how we're going to solve it. Hopefully creating an access point on the other side, on the ramp on the other side that I showed you, might fix it. Okay, one of the entrances we have is behind me, and it's another one fully cobbled, but this is the area that the developers and myself are going to specify as a test area, where there is quite a nice mixture of original cobbles and newly laid cobbles. There's no signage pretty much at all, really, because it's still quite an undeveloped area of the market. It's one that's still being built, and so what we're going to do is test here how to create floor surfaces that work, put up different kinds of signs, and then what I intend to do is contact various disability groups throughout the Camden and London areas and ask them to come down and sort of give us a review of which one they think work. Another idea that I've come up with is to get local schools involved and to ask them in their technology, design and art classes to come up with solutions for some of the more difficult problems that we've got, for two reasons really. One, because I think it opens up the discussion to the community, and it means that young people are being allowed to think of these kind of problems earlier on in their education. And also, I'm not going to lie here, I'm working with the developers, and one of the worries we've got is cost. So if we can find a fantastic solution that we've got pretty much for free, then that's a fantastic solution all round, isn't it? We all come out winners. The children get to say that they've been a part of the redevelopment of this site. It means the community understands what's going on, disabled people feel included, and of course the developers get a nice, cheap, adaptive answer. Right, let's go. Now in this section, the shops have a split level thing going on. What the only solution to this is going to be is for me to come around and assist all of the shopkeepers to get disability awareness training, so that, for instance, if I came into shop, I could ask what I wanted, and then what they would do is say, hang on, let me go and get some bits to show you, and they would bring that down to me at this level access area. That means, of course, that they're fully DDA compliant, which is the legislation here in England about providing goods and access to goods and services, and it also means it makes it a friendlier experience for all concerned, rather than say, oh no, you need a ramp and everything. It's never going to happen. These are old buildings, and basically the shops have been fitted in such a way to make it work. Oh, this one sells some lovely stuff actually. I must come here with my wife shopping. Anyway, stop thinking about shopping, Mick, start thinking about access. Let's carry on. Right, now, as you can see, this corridor goes on for some considerable way. It's all cobbled and they're all new. None of these are original. These have all been laid to make this part look like the more historic areas. The problem is, of course, they're not fit for purpose. So we are going to have to repoint and find a way of solving the appalling ride quality for wheelchair users. had this have been brought up in the planning and design stage of this development, this would have been solved before this happened, even if all we did was lay a path of Yorkstone down the middle, because there is, as you will see, Yorkstone in other areas of the market. That is historic, so it would have been still in keeping, would have still pleased the heritage lobbies, but would have made it what would have meant I would have been able to wheel around without getting myself shaken to bits. I will now wheel along to demonstrate the shaken to bits thing. Oh god, the camera's falling off. Oh, wait there a moment, I'm just going to tie up my camera again. Sorry about this. Okay, let's go.
Hello, mate.
All right. Yeah, not bad.
See you, brother.
All right, and you. Cool. I'll be back in a minute. I'm just doing some work. Right. There you go. Friendly place. Okay. I think you kind of get an idea, don't you? One of the things that I think is a little sad, is that all of this part of the development here is new. And of course these are the original, on this side, on the right side, are the original arches that the railway line ran over the top of. Yet the corridor isn't really big enough, but there is nothing we can do about that, and you just have to put up with it. I also think that possibly it does continue the feel of this fantastic visitor attraction, you know. I mean, I live here, so I get used to it, but if I think back to what it was like when I was a young punk, I would have probably lived and died here. What am I saying? I did live here, and I probably will die here. Right, let's just... All right, mate, yeah, not bad. Right, okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go down... Oh dear, hang on a minute, camera's going funny again. But I'm going to stop and fix the camera. There you go. Right, here we go. Okay, right. Here's another of those infamous transitions. Everything this side of the grate is new, everything that side of the grate is old. In fact, I might just take my life in my hands and try and travel across this original cobbles, because I want to show you another solution that we might try, which is in keeping with the rest of it. Sorry about this. Hang on, I'm going to stop and then... Well, that was less fun than I thought it was going to be. Okay, right, here we are in another part of the market with... The solution has been just to level it off with floorboards, which, as you've already seen, keeps it in keeping with the other parts. And I think it really works fantastically. So this might be something that I bring up with the preservation lobby. I mean, you can see the difference in ride quality, you can see the difference in comfort. It makes no real difference to anyone that can walk, but it's hugely important to, well, to me. Right, while I've shown you this fantastic walkway, I can't get out the other end because there's a huge dip and massively old cobblestone. I mean, scary, you know, kind of, they were probably here, you know, from the 1800s original. Okay, so I'm going to go back this way. Sorry if I'm making you feel a bit sick. Okay, right, I'm going to go back down this way. Now I know this bit's quite awkward because there's a very uneven dip, so if I make any funny faces, please excuse me. Wait! Oh, jeez, son of a... Excuse me, I nearly swore there. Right. This is one of the major trouble spots of the market. I'm just going to whiz the camera around to show you what I mean. Okay, are you ready? Let's go. Right, okay. Down there is the area where we came in originally, and all of this is brand new cobbles. Okay, they've been quite badly laid, but as you can see, I hope you can see anyway, let's make sure. That's how it is. It's a ramp that goes up from that angle down there all the way down to there. There is absolutely no safe route. So we are going to have to really work on this one to try and solve it. I think the only solution is going to be, yet again, this path idea marked out that comes straight down from the top of the ramp to the bottom in a straight line, with possibly a offshoot that travels down this way. Another solution I will show you now. Right, so I'm going to wheel up this ramp to show you another. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, excuse my French, everybody. Oh God! Taking my life in my hands for this, you know. Okay, now it's quite funny because it's so early in the morning that there's no actual stall holders out. But in a way, this means I can show you this whole area much better, because normally it's filled with stalls and stuff. Okay, right. What we have here is a ramp, and what we have there are steps. In fact, I'm going to try it. I can't guarantee I'll be able to get us back out again, but we'll see. Right, okay, no. Okay, right, so I mean, you can see it better here. Now, right, there you go. So you've got your ramp and your steps. Now, this ramp is far too steep, but also the steps aren't that obvious. So the developers agreed with me that this has got to go. And so what we're going to do is put steps where the ramp is, and then this is going to come straight out to provide a level wheeling platform, possibly just to where the first, so the height of the second step, first step onto the second step. You know what I mean? The platform that comes out. Then it's going to go round here, and then at a gentle incline, then another incline here. Then it's going to follow down here to here. Then here, which is another step, and it's quite dark, so you might not be able to see it. I know I nearly fall off the edge of it when. Oh, I think the camera's phasing out. Yeah, no, there you go. Anyway, there it is. So that's the step, and that's the down, and it's about a 10-inch gap. So, okay, yeah. So, platform comes down, splits, goes down, and the idea is to take a small chunk out of the step, create a ramp that feeds off the ramp that gets to the lower area of this section, but also leads us down to the cobbled area down there, which leads to another section and create another pathway. It's all a bit complex, it's all a bit crazy, and it is, yet again, really obvious that had this had been thought of in the design process, we wouldn't have this much mucking about to do. But anyway, right, I tell you what, let's see how easy it is to do this ramp, shall we? Oh, blimey! No! Tell you what, it's lucky I'm such a big guy, isn't it? Right, let's take you round another little section. Yet more floorboards, a really nice bit. Normally this place is heaving, but of course 11 o'clock in the morning in London is the same as most people's night time. Everyone's in bed, nursing a hangover. Oh, I must come here later as well and buy some nice t-shirts. Keep shopping. Okay, right. You can see that things are quite close together, but this is a real centre of fashion and music and all-round youth culture, and it's a massive pull to the tourist industry. You know, it's one of the lifebloods of Camden Town, and to not be included does, I'm sure, make disabled people feel less than part of the community, and that's something I'm going to try and change. Okay, now we're coming up to another one of the entrances. What you see ahead of you here is another part of Camden called the Dingwalls Market. That's an 80s building, and one of the problems we have is that because it is so historic and it's been redeveloped at different times in history, you do have one development following the mistakes of another development because that's the way it looks. There you go, some nice bubbling food there for you. Okay, now This is the food bit. Another food bit. Hey, I'm coming down here because I really desperately want to show you. Okay, we've got a few problems here. As you can see, the age and ubiquitous cobblestones. These are very, very, very old cobblestones. They've been rounded off, and so they're really smooth. But one of the other problems we have is, look, steps up to the shop, and these are things that we will solve, I hope, by installing wooden. Getting in the way of the traders here. By getting wooden ramps built that come out and go down. But that's something we'll talk about with each stall holder, and this is kind of one of my major roles, I hope. Okay, let's go. Oh, camera's falling. This is one of the main access points into the stables market from Camden High Street. The floor, yet again, is original cobbles and is very difficult to get over in a wheelchair. Oh my god. Okay, I think you can tell quite how wobbly it is. Yet again, it's going to be a place where we're probably going to end up having to create a pathway through. So, there you go. We're now at the Chalk Farm Road entrance. Let's see. And John there nearly had an accident with another wheelchair user. Here we go. We're now going to see someone in a wheelchair actually trying to get in there. Yes, well, I don't think I need to say anything now. I think we can safely say that that's not the best way of gaining access to any building. Okay, there you go. That was our little jaunt around the stables market here in Camden. I do think you'll agree that we've got some big hurdles to jump over before we can call it fully inclusive, but the smaller steps to make the place accessible can be carried out fairly soon. I do plan to talk to different members of the community. I want to talk to people with visual impairments and the neurodiverse community especially, because I think that this site does lend specific problems to those people. Anyway, what I'm going to do doesn't matter. What I want you to do is think of a few things. I want you to think of what problems you've seen, how you think you'd solve them, and also I want you to think how many of those problems could have been solved at the design and planning stages of this site. Okay, right, that's enough from me. Back to you, Sarah.